Hi, I'm Mark Scherer. I'm the CEO and founder of Encompass Life and the host of the Encompassing Life podcast. And today we have Dr. Tim Harrigan from Tempe, Arizona. Is that correct? No,
Son.
Tucson, Arizona. And Tim has a variety of companies. The company we're going to talk about today is Synergy Wellness. And he has a new, from what I get, is it a new delivery system, a new way of doing supplements, a new way of I'm curious how what you're doing is so different.
Yeah, so, my obsession just comes from my gut feeling that, we don't need more medications, right? I mean, I don't develop headaches because I have an ibuprofen or aspirin deficiency, right? So, but I'm also have an engineer brain. I like facts and diagnostics. So, what I've done, what my specialty is now that I teach a lot of doctors to do is really doing the right diagnostics before we have issues, right? Alzheimer's research shows it takes 30 to 50 years for that process to start by the time you get diagnosed with Alzheimer's in the future. Heart disease is usually 10 to 20 years silently. So all of these silent things that happen for usually decades before we have symptoms or a diagnosis to treat it is called dis-ease. It's before the symptoms. It's all the dysfunction that's silently happening. So most of us, think of our health as how we feel. I feel good today. My doctor said my 20 to 30 lab values are normal, so I'm just good to go. So I just keep going down those similar habits while those silent things keep occurring in my body, not realizing they're adding up over time. So, what we do is we run advanced diagnostics for really there's three things that happen in our body. Mark, I mean, our body's pretty incredible. When you understand human physiology, which not many people do, every second there's 30 billion trillion chemical reactions that occur. That's in 1 second, 30 billion trillion. So our brains can't even comprehend what 1 million chemical reactions would be like, but it's 30 billion trillion. It happens effortlessly every second of every day of our life. And so if I just go and get 20 or 30 lab markers done once a year at my physical, it's not only not helpful, it's harmful because now it creates this symptomatic society. As these things silently occur, I'm more likely to get all the top four killers, which is heart disease, cancer. Medical intervention is actually one of the leading causes of death, in fact, our healthcare system in the US at least, and medications are the fourth. That's statistically true now. So I don't want to rely on 20 or 30 disease care tests to determine if I'm healthy or not. So what I've done for 20 years is I run about 200 to 300 different diagnostics on my body every quarter, and they change. It might be, different viruses or parasites or toxins or candida or environmental toxins or hormones. So I'm constantly changing them. But if I don't look into that window and look at my unique blueprint of what's happening, I can't fix those silent things. So, but once you find those things, there's a lot of tools out there, and a lot of them I don't like. And I've been experimenting for years on what works the best with the least, adverse effects on the body to address that root cause of this unique blueprint. So that's what I'm constantly working on. So, I mean, the stories we have are transformational. When you find out somebody's unique blueprint in those 30 billion trillion chemical reactions, we don't have to guess. We're just fixing the common sense stuff that shows up. I don't treat Crohn's disease, I don't treat headaches, I don't treat colitis or low back pain. We treat what that individual has going on in their physiology factually with the least invasive tools to affect the cause of that problem.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of if you restore ease to the body, be
Right.
emotional, tension, tension wise, whatever, the body will repair itself.
Absolutely.
When I was a kid, I remember reading in the paper and they said like 90% or 95% of all diseases was caused by stress.
Yeah.
Now you don't see that anymore.
Yeah.
There, there's well, it's genetics, it's this, it's that, it's all these things, but really, it's the state what you call disease or what we call it like non-ease is when the person has a recurring thought that's bugging them. I mean, all those things compound, and once the person starts having things they hate inside their system, well, that takes out their immune system because the body's fighting its own internal toxicity, and they can't fight things from coming from the outside source.
You
You
got it.
gotta, you gotta clean it up.
Yeah. And so we take even that word stress to a little different level. I think when most people hear that word stress, they think just mental stress, right? I'm worried or, I'm fearful or whatever that is. And those are important. But really, when I look at the human body, your nervous system, right? Your brain and spinal cord and all the nerves, everything in your body is controlled by energy and this nervous system, right? It's like the electrical system in our house, but there's a lot of things that affect that electrical system. So stress, our definition is really mental, of course, but also chemical, right? We're
Mm.
eating so many toxic foods now. We're getting exposed to things in our tap water, at restaurant foods, our cleaning products, our, personal care products. So you have mental, chemical, as well as physical. So this is like past traumas, if I exercise too much or not enough, or if I sit all day long. So really, I like those categories because those are the three things in my environment that affect my nervous system that now influences all my hormones and everything else. And so it's important to understand stress is anything that is in the environment. And back to your genetic question, there's so many misconceptions about genetics. Genetics are light switches. That's all they are. If I test every human on Earth right now, I'm going to find bad genes in their body, whether it's breast cancer, colon cancer, heart disease markers, whatever it is. I stopped doing a lot of genetic testing, Mark, because it just scares the crap out of people. So I could scare every human on Earth showing them their bad genes in their body. But that discussion always leads back to one thing. What is the environment you're putting these bad genes in? I know you have them. So if you're eating like garbage and you're mentally stressed all the time and you're fearful all the time and you're physically stressed all the time and you're not sleeping, you're more likely to eventually turn those genes on. So the conversation always leads back to what are my daily habits? What environment am I putting these genes and nervous system into with the three stresses, which are mental, chemical, and physical?
Yep, I agree. The turning on and off of genes, it's just basically like the DNA looks like an antenna. And if you turn one of something on and something else off, you're just tuning you to a particular frequency of thoughts or what's available in the airwaves. So you can start turning genes on and off. I'm sure you read like The Biology of Belief by Dr. Bruce Lipton.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's malleable. We can, all kind of things can change. Just because somebody has a genetic marker doesn't mean they become an alcoholic or any of those
Right.
things. Whether it's what else they're doing along with it. It all goes back to consciousness.
And epigenetics, right? Epigenetics is, basically what influence I have on my genes, which we all do. And most people we're so conditioned, right, with mainstream thinking. And my neighbors say this, my family says this, the television says this. We have so much dogma in our brains that people will start hearing more and more of that word epigenetics because that's what we need to focus on. And again, that always leads back to thinking better, sleeping better, eating healthier, and all the other things.
Awesome. So you've been in the healing arts for how long?
I actually started as a personal trainer over 20 years ago. I was going to be an eye doctor, ironically, at one point, and I was training under my cousin. He was more like a big brother to me, and I was going to take over his optometry practices. And I got kind of bored with that. He taught me everything he knew, and I'd been personal training at the same time, and I was very good at it, helping people with way less knowledge, getting healthy through diet and exercise. So actually, when I graduated with my pre-med degree and I was going to apply to optometry schools, I had a 1 hour discussion with his brother-in-law, and I completely changed my path. It just made sense to me what he said. I was already helping people get healthy through lifestyle, and his explanation of like functional medicine was really just taking what I was doing to a more doctorate level so that I could, have more scope of practice. So literally I changed my whole paradigm in an hour discussion with this guy. I knew nothing about it. And my gut knew that was the right decision. So I've just been obsessed with it ever since. I have not been to a traditional doctor, a medical doctor in 25 years. So my practice, I've really built around root cause. And, we're not a crisis office. We're not the emergency room, but I want to do everything in my lifestyle to prevent us needing that more crisis-based system because it is fairly dangerous. There's a lot of people that, get septic while they're in the hospital, or medical error is the third leading cause of death. So it's kind of a scary thing, but thank God for them when we have a crisis. But my true health is not up to my spouse or a doctor. It's up to me. So I wanted to have the best tools in the world to optimize my health so I could help my family and 10,000 patients since then. So now we share that information with people.
Hmm. Awesome. And you're the company you're starting now, this Synergy company. You're manufacturing supplements as well,
So
or
I wear too many hats, Mark. I have several companies. We have our brick and mortar practice. We do virtual functional medicine as well. I help companies formulate products using 10 of the best in-class food raw ingredients in the world
Mhm.
that are all clinical studied, certified. So helping, basically find those tools that help move those diagnostic needles the best, safest way possible. So and then we have our own little e-commerce site as well. So I get bored easy. I think I need a lot of stuff going on, but I also lose trust in people. You work with people and you find out they're putting excipients in their products or other things that just don't belong in there. And so I had to take more control of things over time, knowing, that my standard is much higher, I guess, than a lot of people. So I've had to take control of a lot of things. And that's why we do so many things in our practice now, because there's a lot of funny business going on out there. So I want to have control of it for myself and my family.
Yeah, people cut quality for profit quite frequently.
Absolutely.
It's just it sucks. But I've been doing this podcast, I guess, now for maybe 6 to 8 months, I guess, and I'm really surprised and really pleased about the quality of people coming on here who have an attitude like you do, and like I'm taking a stand for this. This is the quality I demand, and not just maintain those standards, but forever increasing them too. Like if there's something better, let's find that. There's something better, let's find that. Something better, let's find that. And to me, that's really beautiful. It can't be just I'm gonna maintain the standards because gravity will take over and you'll suck down with everybody else. You got to have that. You got to have that upward movement. What else is next? What else is next? What else is next?
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, and I think a lot of people get, focused on the financial opportunity many times and, they see a good opportunity and, that's great for them. But, I've walked away from millions of dollars, I can tell you that, based on, I guess, my integrity, but just my gut just wouldn't allow me to
Mm.
pass those decisions on to my children, I guess, right? Our decisions are our legacy. So yeah, I've walked away from a lot of things just knowing, it's not based on money. It's nice to have money, of course, but that shouldn't be the driver at all. So.
Right. So you were going to pass this on to your children at one time?
I just mean, my choices, right? All of our choices, if I'm making bad business deals or I'm doing something for the wrong intentions, that's what I consider my legacy. What am I passing on to them? What burden or gifts am I giving to them based on how I live my life, right? My example. So,
Right.
my integrity, I guess, my gut feeling on certain things, I've just walked away from some really great opportunities that I knew just weren't 100% integrity based, purpose driven for them as a legacy that I'm passing on to them that I'm responsible for.
Gotcha. So how do people use your products? Where do they find them, or what? I'm still trying to understand your business model here. I guess
Yeah.
you get a lot of pieces.
Yeah, so I have a brick and mortar practice. So we see, 20 to 40 patients a day. I still like the face-to-face stuff and, working on patients. But I also work virtually with people so we can run diagnostics on people in different states, give them the recommendations with the root cause, protocols that we've used successfully for a very long time. I help big supplement companies create products for their line. If somebody wants to formulate something in a certain category, I can help them do that with some of the best in-class raw ingredients for that. But then I have my own small kind of e-commerce brand where I have 30 of my favorite products on there just because I train other doctors how to do this, just very basic, simple, functional nutrition. And I
Hmm.
have certain products out of 400 formulas that I actually use that are whole food based that I use with patients. But there's 30 to 40 that are just kind of the most powerful, most effective things for gut health, things like that. So I have those on a website just so I can teach other doctors how to do functional medicine. And if we have patients move out of town, they can order off there some of the main things that we use in practice. So we do so many things though.
So you can get your products off of your website,
Yeah.
Synergy
Synergy
Wellness,
Wellness formulas, yeah.
Synergy Wellness formulas.
Yep. And then
Gotcha.
there's other companies that will have some of the stuff that we have as well that we've helped them create as well.
So are y'all if you're on Amazon, or do you use Amazon fulfillment or any of that as
No,
well?
I'm not a huge fan of Amazon. A lot of times, some of these companies that are only available through healthcare providers, for example, they have to water down the product. So if it looks and smells like a certain brand on Amazon, usually what I've learned is it's actually watered down to make the cost make sense for that product. So some of these healthcare products that you buy on there, people try them and they just don't work as well as the ones that you get through your doctor or through the companies directly. So there's a lot of counterfeit products and expired products on Amazon. So that's a tough one. Sometimes we do have to lock in an Amazon placement, or somebody might take our product and lock it in themselves. That's kind of the game in this digital era now. But yeah, no, they're not on Amazon. They're directly through our website. We get them directly, manufactured so they're fresh and we don't store, 10,000 bottles so they expire and become less therapeutic. So there's kind of a balancing act there. Sorry, you're on mute, Mark.
Oops, thank you. What's 30 or 40 products do you recommend?
Yeah, so they're on our website. They have names like Digestive Blend, Terra Verde. We have nitric oxide type products that help the body with blood flow, testosterone products that naturally get my body producing testosterone, which is the opposite of what TRT does. I want to
Right.
teach my body how to produce more, not, if I'm low after a decade or more of it decreasing over time, the solution in the mainstream is here's your prescription, your injection, your
Mm-hmm.
patch cream. That doesn't fix the problem. In fact, that
Mm-hmm.
makes the problem much worse, much faster. Because even if your body was producing a little bit of testosterone, when you start taking that TRT now, your brain shuts down all of its production because it's a negative feedback. The brain says we have plenty, and your organs suffer because of that. So there's an easy thing to apply with our health. Use it or lose it. Right? If I don't exercise, my muscle mass, bone density, tendons, discs all decrease over time. They're not being used. If your organs are not being used, they also degenerate over
Mm-hmm.
time as well. So I rarely will give the body something it's not producing enough of. I don't like to do that. I want to fix the body so it starts producing more of it. We're actually fixing the problem versus forcing something that's really high, forcing it lower, and taking something that's low and forcing it higher. That's not how the body functions in homeostasis. It's again the mainstream model, but there's a lot of side effects and other issues that come with that.
Yeah, I was taking powdered collagen for a while. Thought that was going to be a good supplement for me to take, and I noticed that it wasn't producing results over time. And a friend of mine turned me on some stuff that I take that, and it increases my collagen production.
Yeah.
And I noticed I'm 67. I noticed the skin on my arms was getting that like the reptile looking stuff,
Mhm.
and all that's starting to fill in. In fact, just looking at it now, I haven't looked at it in a long time.
Yeah.
It's like it's all gone, So
Right.
yeah, it's really cool. Now, if I
Yeah.
could
So
just
most
get
of
the
our
hair to grow back.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's mechanisms for that, right? So most of our supplements, we pepper in just a little bit of food enzymes, because you're right. I mean, there's a lot of people taking, mediocre or really expensive products, and their stomach acid isn't correct. They don't have enough enzymes in their body to break it down and absorb it. So
Mm,
there's a very complex process from assimilation, right? Getting these nutrients, these expensive products or organic food actually to the cellular level so they can do what they're supposed to do. So there's quite a few steps that lead to that most people have at least
mm,
several of those that are not working right. So most people have stomach acid issues, most people have gallbladder issues. These are all digestive organs that I don't care how healthy you eat or what supplements you take, you're going to have a hard time getting those delivered to the cells. So there's a lot of little biohacks you can do to make sure you're getting the best bang for your buck from these supplements and from these nutrients I should be eating.
mm. Awesome. What type of changes have you noticed in people when they got on your products?
I mean, I could tell you a testimonial success story on virtually anything you could throw at me. And that's the cool thing with finding that person's unique blueprint, right? So for some reason, we attract a lot of lupus patients. I don't know why, but I don't treat lupus. What we do is we do functional medicine, functional nutrition with these people. And when I look at each of their deficiencies and each of their toxicities and each of their imbalances, those are the only things that can happen in this amazing body where there's 30 billion trillion chemical reactions per second. I can only measure and fix not enough of something, too much of something, or an imbalance of some sort. That could be hormonal, neurological, some of the epigenetic things that affect us. So once we learn that, it's not uncommon that they have less symptoms in their body. Eventually, sometimes they go to their doctor and they say, well, you don't really have the markers that show you have lupus anymore, right? I didn't treat lupus. I fixed their specific deficiencies, which was different from the next person, from the next person. That unique blueprint is so important, but most people only measure maybe 20, 30, maybe 50 things a year. You're never going to see that unique blueprint of thousands of different things that can happen in my body that you can actually proactively fix and measure to make sure they're improving over time.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. And you got to get the body back to its state of ease where everything's working together and it heals itself with the condition with the right conditions. Just like if you have a cut on the outside of your skin, as long as you don't pack it in poo or something, that the
Right.
body's going to heal it. So same thing on the inside. You got to get your body back to a state of ease so it can heal itself.
Homeostasis, right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep. So what's the best way for people to reach you?
Usually by email because we do lots of things, so we get lots of unique questions. We
Yeah, I
get
got an idea. You do a lot of public speaking as well.
Yeah, we do. So info@sinwellness.com is a good email to reach out to us so we can figure out where we need to what discussion we need to have, but info at SYN Wellness, synwellness.com. And yeah, I mean, we help people get healthy. We help people formulate products. We help people direct them to the, best nutrition that I've used in practice. There's not something on that website or on my shelves in my practice that's there to make a dollar. Literally everything we've tested for years and years and years. And if something better comes across, or we see somebody come in on a certain protocol or they're doing a certain system, we're going to look into it. If it works better than what we're currently doing, we will always, based on
Take a look
integrity,
at it.
go that direction. There's nothing that we're selling just to sell. It's all based on our experience for 20 years.
Awesome. Well, Tim, I do have one question for you before you get off. And my question is, what do you love about life?
What do I love about life? I think this definition has probably changed in the past 2 years in my life, probably because the more wisdom you get, the more experiences we have in life, you realize there's a lot of shit that can happen, right? A lot of crap, a lot of situations, negative things, but it can also be amazing. When you see your kids accomplish certain things, or you accomplish something in business, or helping an individual get healthier, you realize that everything serves a purpose. So I don't regret anything I've ever done in my past. I was kind of a troublemaker as a kid, but all of these experiences are what the definition of life is, right? Without the bad stuff, there can't be good stuff. There can't be, extreme happiness without extreme pain or fear. So I think just taking it all in and enjoying all of it and figuring out how to turn some of those negative things that we look at into it serves a purpose somewhere. It only makes us stronger the more you go out there and just live life and fail and try again and keep getting up and just keep going through life, keep moving forward, I guess.
Yeah, Master has tried and failed more times than anybody than other people have even tried.
Yeah,
And I'm also a big proponent of holy shit, and I believe that phrase came about for a reason, and it's inside of no matter how big the crap is, that if you go inside of it, most people try to run away from it or hide it or medicate it or whatever, but if you go inside of it, every single time there's a gold nugget. The bigger the poo, the bigger the gold.
absolutely. And I
So
think consciously we seek comfort, right? We seek, what's predictable, but you have different parts of your brain that need it all. So I think once you understand that and you start accepting everything for just what it is, I think it's a superpower that you can develop.
yes, sir. Well, Tim, thank you for being on the show.
Yeah, my pleasure.
And yeah, I'd like to have you back and talk about some of your other businesses as well.
Sure.
Because if you're running a chiropractic clinic as well as doing all this and doing all this, man, you got something special going on with you, dude.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
I appreciate it, Mark.
Blessings.
All right, bye-bye.